Well, could the boys from Brazil save our season? Yes, everybody. Hope you are all safe and well. Hope your Wednesday is going well. One more week for me for the bins go back to normal. Anyway, it is Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com, boys. If you want to find out the latest rumours, news, don't forget to check out the great guys over at KUMB.com. My brain went absolutely crazy just then. But it is Hammers Headlines, and we have obviously a interesting situation at the moment. We'll call it a situation. Guess what it is? Obviously, we have a lot of players who are potentially going to be out for a long time. Luis Paqueta is apparently up to 6 to 8 weeks now with his injury. Jeroboam maybe 2 to 3. Antonio out. Kudus at the AFCONs. But could the boys from Brazil help us out in a roundabout way? Could the nation of Brazil be our saviour? Is the question. And it's a little bit tenuous, but all three stories are about Brazil. So that's what all Brazilian players, hence why my assumption that they can be the ones that help us. Let's start with the outs. Let's start with Luizao. You would have remembered Luizao, our 20, was he 21, 20-year-old? 21-year-old centre-half we purchased a while ago. Now, we know by what's been mentioned in several news outlets and stuff like that, that to invest in the side and to comply with FFP, particularly with all the Everton stuff that's coming out, and we're led to believe Nottingham Forest will be the next ones to have some sort of punishment put us alongside them. That's obviously before the likes of Chelsea and Man City are dealt with, hopefully. We have to sell before we buy. The likes of Said Ben Rama, Fornals, Daddy Ings have all been linked with exits, but a new exit-linked name has emerged. Brazilian reporter Andre Hernan has claimed that 3 Brazilian clubs are keen to sign our 21-year-old centre-back Luizao this month. And that was corroborated with another Brazilian journalist, a guy called Gabriel Sá. And he claimed that the Hammers will only let Luizao go for a straight sale, not a loan deal. And apparently Botafogo have already made contact about signing him. If you remember Luizao, we signed him for Brazil this time last year, actually. Big reputation. He was playing for Sao Paulo, was captain as well, if I believe, for Sao Paulo as well. However, he's failed to make any real kind of impact whatsoever within the first team squad at West Ham. He's still yet to make an appearance for the senior side. He's made 28 appearances for the under-21s instead. He has been seen training with the first team, and I think it was October when the club do their sort of training montage videos. He was spotted there, but that's the closest he's ever come to getting a sniff of being included in the senior squad. It's strange, I think, how he hasn't been given a chance, even appearing on the bench, so to speak, because obviously yesterday the under-21s unfortunately lost 2-1 to Wycombe Wanderers. I thought he looked, he looked really good. I know we lost the game, but he looked physically strong, where arguably a lot of the other under-21s don't look physically ready, in my opinion. Skillfully, they're there. It's no problem at all. But physically, I don't think they're just strong enough yet, where Luizao looks like he looks like a professional football player, if that makes sense. Even for like one of the Dead Rubber games, in the European games, he hasn't featured. Maybe he could have come on for half an hour or so, but he hasn't. Maybe, the fact is there is a clear line of communication between the academy and the first team coaching staff. Maybe they don't see him ready. Maybe they don't see him, I don't know, been able to progress into the Premier League, maybe, and maybe there's no. If that's the case, there's no point whatsoever keeping him at the sake of the club. Moving him on, get some money involved, which then we can reallocate for our January transfer window, and that's the idea. That's how the boys from Brazil can help us out. That being one of them. Now, another one, a blast from the past, another player who could be helping us out is this gentleman, Felipe Anderson. And it's not about signing for us as well. Obviously, we were linked with a tenuous link for him. Obviously, selling him to Lazio for pennies, really, to be fair. Aston Villa were also linked with him. But it does seem that Juventus particularly are the more likely destination for Philippe. But in terms of how he can help us, we could earn a nice little windfall off the back of him being sold. If Lazio do sell him, we apparently included a 50% sell-on clause in the deal to sign, to Lazio to sign him. Now, a small thing we sold him surprised a lot, considering we paid 30-ish million, something like that, for him at the time when Pellegrini bought him in. At the time, he was our second highest signing, with Sebastian Haller taking the top spot shortly later. But at least we thought if you're getting, we'll have this sort of 50%, a bit of foresight there, including the sell-on deal. Now, according to Calcio Mercato, it reckons that Lazio are currently trying to tie Anderson down to a new contract. However, there is a chance they're unable to do that. And it's claimed by the Italian media outlet that Lazio will try to sell him this January. And they're not prepared to let him go on a cheap either, with them quoting a minimum of 20 million euros for the Brazilian winger. If they are successful in selling him for that fee, we'll be in line to receive 8-9 million quid, something like that, based on conversions, which is fantastic, really, out of nothing, so to speak. And it will certainly go a long way to making up the paltry fee that he moved on to Lazio for. It could happen if the side are desperate for Philippe now. If they're not, they can wait 6 months and sign him for nothing in the summer. But we shall see. I mean, even if they sell him for 10 million quid, that's 5 million quid in our pocket already. So we'll wait and see about that in terms of whether he can help us save our season by providing us some much needed funds, so we don't have to worry so much about FFP. And lastly, maybe even a player on the pitch. This gentleman, Savio, hold your horses. Not that one. Take that moment. Not Savio, not Gianluca Nani's godson, whoever it was. It's not Savio. This is Savio who plays for Genoa, who is on loan at Genoa. West Ham obviously looking at left wingers particularly as an area to bring in. And 19-year-old Brazilian wonder kid Savio has emerged as a potential. And I say potential because there's a high chance we're not getting him. He currently plies his trade for the Liga side Genoa, who are having a fantastic season, right at the top of the league. The surprise package of La Liga this season. X took to his podcast the other day and stressed competition for his signature is fierce. So at this stage, it's not known how likely the potential move is. And he was quoted in saying the Brazilian is currently on loan at Genoa from Troyes, the French side, who are having an amazing season, sitting joint top with Madrid in La Liga. It's a very unlikely situation that Troyes will want him to end that deal, or the player would want to go as well. Being on the brink of such a huge achievement, by even getting Genoa into the Champions League, for example, which is more than possible. If, however, his parent club would entertain an offer, then alongside us are some big clubs who would be keen. Barcelona, Arsenal are said to want the player. And the eventual plan seems to be Man City. Although he's on loan to Girona are part of the City group that obviously own numerous clubs across the world, including Man City rather. So, although a deal is very likely, but should the deal wish to prove himself, player wishes to prove in the Premier League ahead of a potential move to City eventually, a loan deal would be something that we would be very keen on. I personally can't see this one happening, but as we always do, we report it, so you guys are aware of it. But I just think there's too many. There's just too many obstacles. There's too many things. There's too many strange. The whole thing. He's currently on loan, but he's on loan to a club that is part of the City Group. So, is it our City eventually? Although City themselves have already bought a Brazilian wonder kid already this year, this January transfer to India, I believe, as well. So, do we want another one? Or are they just keeping him entertained in terms of seeing how good he is? Girona themselves are having a fantastic season, so they want to make that a permanent deal. There's lots of things, but again, another Brazilian player who could benefit and save our season, particularly with our current Brazilian Magnifico out for up to 8 weeks. Lovely. And that is it, my friend. Please keep an eye on the channel. I think we've got 2 live shows. We're like buses. We'll do a live show at 9 o'clock tonight, UK time, talking about what now? What do we do? How do we navigate this crisis that we're in? And just trying to sort of come up with some ideas and get your thoughts as well. More, the idea is it's an interactive show, so come on, give your thoughts. There's been myself, Anton, and also Alex, who's you see a lot more on the channel coming up the next few weeks for sure. And then at about 10:30, 11 o'clock UK time, we've got the old school hammers, talking about January sales, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that could be quite fun with Budgie and Kieran and guests. And also don't forget to check out news@motherbrand.com as always for your latest news and opinions. Take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and come on, you bloody Irons. Irons.